here's the deal, guys. I've got a gameplay wheel and a cosmetic wheel. Every 10 days, I'm going to spin both of these wheels. And for the cosmetics, I'm going to have to wear whatever I land on for the next 10 days. Doesn't matter what it looks like, unless if it's going to get me demonetized. And gameplay wheel, these will accumulate. So by the end of the 100 days, I'm going to have all 10 of these going. And I don't know what any of them do because my buddies Lowboy and Comma set them all up. Let's see what we got. Sid's hybrids. Moai Statues, that's amazing. Races? I really hope that isn't what I think it is. This is gonna be really cursed. Make a female? That's true. I never roll with the female. Massive Gahongas. I didn't realize they'd be so huge. Of course, we're gonna give you that hourglass figure. Oh yeah. This will just be the most appealing female ever. I think torso height is fine, but depth? Oh yeah, the slimmer the better, right guys? Let's promote awful body standards. Oh man, she beefy. She beefy. Like, she hits the gym. Of course, we gotta hit her with the dumpy thighs. I'm gonna call it perfection. Wow, I am so pale.
Well, in order to do anything, I need to start with the boring, lame, and stupid basics. You have to act like a caveman before you can act like a technologically advanced war criminal. I noticed a bunch of DNA engrams, which looked super complicated. What the heck is this stuff? What am I supposed to do with this? The scissors from the cosmetic mod looked a bit interesting, so I made them. Then I discovered that using them brings me to a menu where I can make some glorious changes.
What? Facial hair. Oh my. Oh, yes. Oh, wow. I can have this stuff follow me around. Just like this hairy thing chasing me. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is horrifying.
Of course, my primitive-looking Ah needs some hide, and that's what these lizard-looking nerds are for. Give me your skin. Sharing is caring. I picked a fight with a turtle, probably because I wanted his leather too. And keratin. Keratin is nice. After roaming around aimlessly for a bit, I finally decided to set up a starter base. I didn't plan on staying here, of course, but it was more of an excuse to build something shaped like a... This is the choofy style at its finest. Day 2, I added some walls to my house.
This is gonna be the most inconvenient house of all time. I love it. It's perfect.
I don't think I've ever seen a haircut this fresh before. It's like it's too fresh to even want to come near me. I put down a refining forge and set up a mortar and pestle while watching this Dilo's meager attempts to break and enter. Then when I had enough metal ingots, I made a smithy. Now I wanted a Pteranodon to do cool flying stuff, but first I obviously had to find one. Level 140? Don't mind if I do. I've had plenty of comments on videos where I nuked my XP rates in the past, so if anyone wants to know my rates, I always put them in the description. Or you could still write a comment complaining about it and look dumb, but that's your choice. Remember that Dilo that attacked my base? I decided to tame him. A scant mercy. You will probably never see me being this nice to an inferior creature ever again. Upgrading to metal tools? Check. Useless tame? Check. Acts of evil that will land me on an FBI watch list? Looks like I still need to work on that one. I went to check up on my Pteranodon only to arrive just in time to witness it being eaten by another Dilo. So the search for a PT continues, and now I'm salty. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find one anywhere near the house either. Sad. I settled for knocking out a level 45 Parasaur in the meantime. Literally seconds after doing that, I found a much higher level Tech Parasaur, so I enslaved him too. It wouldn't be enough to heal my emotional wounds, but at least now I was riding a cool robot dino. Getting berries with the Robo Dino, yeah! Getting berries because I have no friends on this desolate hunk of rock, yeah! I ran into a wooden crate as I headed down the beach, and my Fjordur experience paid off as I beat the crap out of it for metal tools. Further along, I encountered this purple glowing critter, and I guess it was a wild hybrid. It was a little tough, but I managed to take it down. When I finally opened my inventory to level up, I was in for a surprise.
What? I am sorry.
My perseverance paid off when I found this level 150 bird, and there was no way I was gonna let this one die. I cleared off anything in the area that would ruin the taming effectiveness, and then found another high-level PT. I still needed to make a saddle, so I eliminated another turtle for its crunchy outer layers, and then found another and did the same thing. The 150 finished taming up, and coincidentally, I had the stuff to make a saddle. I explored a little bit while waiting for the other to tame and found some old ruins with crystal inside. I used my newfound goodies to make some awesome spyglasses and returned just as the other PT finished being brainwashed. Also, I guess I have 3 Pteranodons? I don't know where Bingle Dong came from, but he's chilling, so I'm chilling. This is already descending into chaos. I picked up an Ascendant Carno saddle blueprint from a yellow drop on day 4. Probably never gonna use it, but it's mine now. I explored explored inland a bit more and almost immediately found this sick looking bridge crossing this really deep gorge. No questions, I'm building something awesome here. Maybe a base? Who knows? I immediately ran home to begin the process of moving my stuff to the bridge. This included preparing trinks and saddles for a Dodic and Mammoth, which are my two favorite harvesting dinos immediately available early game. I didn't know much about the map, but I did however know that there were carrots and potatoes in the grasslands ready to harvest. As I headed that direction, I found an enormous castle. Hey yo, dead whales? I already knew as soon as I saw them that they were gonna have some great loot for me. There were plenty of vegetables up in the grasslands, so I picked up more than I would need just to be safe and began the journey back. I repaired my crossbows and made more trank arrows before heading right back out to find a mammoth. I wasn't too fussy about the levels, so I decided to settle with this level 50. Plus, knocking it out was cheaper. Totally worth it in my opinion. Day 5, I began looking for a Dodic. Unfortunately, there didn't seem to be many in the immediate area, so I had to expand my search farther. I took a break from looking once my mammoth was done taming, but then I had another Ark moment. This game is so funny. Such a great sense of humor. Who needs the mesh anyway? For some reason, I always seem to have trouble finding Dodics. Serious bruh moment. I did eventually find one near the volcanic zone that was funnily enough also level 50. Well, since all those veggies I had disappeared into the mesh, I had to go grab more, and on my way back to the grasslands, I acted a fool and flew right over the Wyvern trench to get a peek. Of course, a fire wyvern aggroed onto me after a very short amount of time, and I was forced to flee.
Oh, I'm so dead. Actually, you know what? I could save you. I could save my PT right now. Let's go!
I have absolutely no idea how I survived, but I guess that proves I'm literally him.
I'm him, guys!
For some reason, the Dodic also sank into the mesh, but I could reach him, so I guess it's whatever. Plus, he tamed pretty much instantly because he was hungry. I also tried my hand at passively taming this modded dino with some prime meat, which for the most part seemed to work. Unfortunately, he ran off and got murdered. Natural selection. I also began safari taming an Argy, but this went downhill fast when she began to run away. My aim was absolutely trash for some reason, and I started getting really irritated. Eventually, I ran super low on tranks, and to make things even worse, a Carno attacked. My PT started to act like a doofus at this point, and then the unbelievable happened. My game crashed. Did I just get saved by a crash? Well, the crash set me back far enough that I could start all over with the Argy. Turns out this is exactly what I needed, and I knocked it out with hardly any trouble. Boom. Bird acquired. I wasted no time getting started on the harvesting process the following morning. First some stone, then wood. Using my Pteranodon, I began moving the rest of my stuff to the bridge. I wasn't able to place structures directly onto the platform, so I began putting down foundation. It was all for the best, this way I could cover up the holes that I was almost positive I'd fall into at some point. I set up an S+ crafting station, and with it I was able to get some behemoth gates going. If I want to secure the base of this cool looking tower structure, I was going to need to build a wall. This terrain might be a bit tricky to work with though. Next order of business was getting some water up to the base. I wanted it to look nice, so these crop plots were placed first before putting down pipes on top. And so began the tedious process of building a pipe all the way down to the bottom of the ravine. While I waited for more vertical pipes to craft on day 7, I began laying the foundation for that wall I mentioned earlier. This one wouldn't be super crazy, but it should be enough to keep the bad guys out. And it's back to more pipe building. Hooray! After inevitably running out of piping again, I finished the other half of my wall foundation while I waited for even more vertical pipes to craft. Finally, I reached the bottom. I know it only took a day, but this felt like a lifetime for some reason. Then I gathered some thatch with a pickaxe, and I'm not sure why I didn't use the mammoth. This was so much less effective. I also needed to replenish my stock of arrows. You think this will be enough? I began putting in the walls on day 8 since I wanted to at least secure an area of safety before getting some potentially awful mods later on. Can't be too careful. This of course took a lot of stone and wood, so a lot of time was spent out in the field getting huge quantities of both. It still wasn't enough, by the way. Also, don't forget, I'm filling in the middle of the bridge with foundations. How fun. Fellas, if YouTube didn't exist, I would be bored out of my mind doing this. If I'm gonna lose brain cells doing this, I might as well watch some Smitty videos to lose even more.
I'm like, what is it me for?
Day 9 I was being stupid at the Wyvern trench again, but I managed to kill this poison wyvern because I'm an absolute stud. I was no coward though. I nabbed a level 60 lightning egg and rode out of the trench fueled by adrenaline. I think my balls of steel were weighing me down though, and they caught up to me. I made an effort to run to freedom, but at that point I think we all know it was Jover for me. Running back to get my stuff took some time, but eventually I found my spot of death and there wasn't a single wyvern in sight. I was still a little paranoid after getting my stuff, but nothing followed me and all was well. They must have been afraid of me. Well, my PT was dead, but I had an egg now, so the sacrifice wasn't in vain. I put down some storage and threw all of my stuff inside. I let a stingray kill me since I figured I could respawn at home and fly back. There was just one problem. I kinda forgot to put down a bed at the base. Guys, I can literally feel the genius leaving my body as I speak. I guess it's time to improvise. I spent the rest of the day looking for the little lake area where my stuff was being kept. I finally found the spot again the next morning and immediately set my new plan into motion. Through some trial and error, I began putting down enough campfires until I finally had enough to incubate that sort of sacred egg. It's only sort of sacred because it's a low level. Out of complete boredom, I started taming a horse with potatoes. I could have done this with carrots, but that involved finding more, which I was too lazy to do. Been spending most my life living in a horsey paradise. You can too with a little vice, living in a horsey paradise. I couldn't believe my luck when I found this high-level unicorn and began taming it. Alas, this one didn't end too great since the dumb idiot got stuck on some rocks and died to a mantis attack. Of course, I didn't die because I'm a superior organism, but the whole thing still made me pretty sad. Guys, I'm bored. I just want this egg to hatch.
It's been another 10 days. It's time to spin the wheel again to see what I have to add. I'm scared. Human NPCs.
This is where the fun begins.
Okay, let's see what I have to wear for the next 10 days. Dino Pick Up?
Well, I have absolutely no idea what it means by human NPCs, but while I'm waiting for that egg to hatch, I might as well look for some. I didn't find anything though. Maybe I'll see some later. The lightning wyvern finished hatching later, but I didn't like how long it would take to raise. I must have goofed on the baby-related stats. This is when I realized I had a ton of chitin in my inventory this whole time on top of having another pteranodon too. I could have literally made another saddle. That's awkward. Really awkward. On my way home, I also figured out how the Dino Pick Up mod works.
Look at him! It's so funny! Oh my gosh, now I have a little dilo. I'm a dill pickle sitting on my shoulder, guys. How freaking awesome is that?
While I waited for my little baby wyvern to grow, I continued adding foundations and ceilings to patch up the holes in the floor. Somehow, I still haven't fallen through. Duh. While I'm at it, I'm gonna add in some stairs too, just to make it look nicer. You already know that I've gotta build something awesome, so the rest of the day was spent laying the foundations for a really cool tower idea that I had. The following morning, I began installing some walls on the tower. I was gonna use large stone walls for the blank sections, and then some window wall columns later to add in a bit of texture. Of course, this means I still have to grind for more stone and wood every 5 minutes. Gross. I think Pal World slave labor has spoiled me a bit. Right after I got back from my stone run, I discovered my first NPC village, and it had decided to spawn right outside of my front gate. I immediately chose violence, which I don't think mattered since they were hostile to begin with. Oh boy, comma? What the heck is this? Human slaughter? I love it! There can only be one! I couldn't help but notice that my awesome spyglass was telling me that these fellas were tameable, although I unfortunately killed the first NPC I tried to knock out. I got a little bit cocky and one of them hit me with Ebola. Before I knew it, I was completely overrun and they finally forced me to answer for my ethnic war crimes. Oh yeah, I still haven't placed a bed at my base yet. This is gonna be fun. Wow, look at me go. Definitely made it this far through legitimate means without any sort of flying going on. I would never do that. Look, home. Isn't that cool? Okay, fine, I flew a little. It was a rage fly. I'll build another peepee or something later to make up for it. I flew Tim to the spot of death and got all my stuff back. Then I got my revenge by stealing from their homes, which I didn't even know was a thing until I went inside one of the houses. The loot was actually pretty nice. I found a village not too far from that one and went on a killing rampage. I singled out a level 90 dude with a bow and took him to a neutral zone. There I began drinking him to see if I could tame him. Eventually I took him home because he kept running away, and this time I knocked him out. Judging by this progress bar, it turns out that you really can tame them. Wait, so I can actually have slaves? I ended the day with another wood run. Something tells me that this war against the NPCs will last the whole video. Spoiler alert, they're not gonna win. I raised hell in the village I found the day before, killing all who dared oppose me. Let's be honest, they had it coming. If you have an army of dudes with primitive anti-aircraft fire and still can't beat one person riding a giant bird, you deserve to lose. I took a break from violating the Geneva Convention to continue working on my glorious tower. I needed to assert dominance on these NPC dweebs. Little baby Zappo got a bit confused at one point and wasn't staying put. Don't bother asking about how I rectified the issue. It was definitely legal, I promise. And I need more stone. This is really annoying. I also need more thatch, which is also really annoying. This tower isn't tall enough. I must keep building. The only time I really wasn't building that day was to get more stone. Yippee! At one point, I wanted to see if I could build on this log and it wasn't letting me. This was tragic. I was hoping to build another phallic structure here. Phooey. On the bright side, the base of the tower is starting to look pretty good. It's a nice, rugged shape that will help set the tone for the rest of it. The base was finally done on day 16, which meant it was time to get creative for the next stage. I really haven't mentioned it until now, but I gave Zappo his final imprint as sort of a side quest in between building and crafting structures. I messed around with these sloped walls to try and make a cool detail, but it just looked weird. Maybe I'll revisit that idea later. The rest of the day was dedicated to wall installation. How exciting! I love going up. I guess you could say that I love getting high. What? I was joking! Zappo finally finished growing on day 17, which meant I could introduce my new weapon to the enemy. Every single NPC I found was introduced to the conductive properties of lightning, and they didn't seem to enjoy it too much. Soon my killing spree had somehow miraculously taken me back to the Wyvern Trench. It was high time that I took a gander for some better eggs. There were indeed some strong wyverns, like this 165 fire one, but I managed to fight them wisely and took care of them easy peasy. My Wyvern Trench shenanigans continued into the following morning. After cheesing some lightning wyverns into this wall to let me bite them to death, I found a little nook with a level 185 lightning egg. I returned home with my spoils of war, feeling quite good about myself. I wanted to get back onto Zappo since he was flying around, but he wasn't in range to actually settle up, so I had a really dumb idea to jump into the ravine to trick him into flying closer.
Here we go. It's fine, I'll survive. Jeez, this is a long drop. I didn't realize. I'm sorry? Oh no, is it that glitch?
Guys, I think I broke the game again. Fortunately, the game didn't bug out on my second plummet to the bottom, and I finally got Zappo to land. That was a lot more painful than it should have been. Now it was time to refocus my efforts on hatching the level 185 egg. I chose to use the campfire method, but I think I may have done a bit much. Nah, what am I even saying? This is perfect! Just a little something to warm my tootsies. I got some more wood in the early morning on day 19. Lumberjacks do it every day. I shouldn't complain. They do it with axes. My mammoth does it with its face. If you thought this wood was for the tower, you're actually wrong. All of it was delivered to my campfires so that all 91 of them can keep melting the polar ice caps. Global warming. Then it's back to work on my tower. See, isn't this fun? Can you see me having fun? Trick question, you can't see me doing anything. I'm actually crying on the other side of the screen. I was tired of all that building, so I went on a trip to see the sights of Ragnarok. All silliness aside, it is a truly beautiful map. On the other side of a large bay, I discovered the desert, which may or may not be of some use later. We'll see. I'm gonna be honest, nothing super interesting happened aside from massacring human NPCs every single time I saw a group. At the very end of the day, I encountered a humongous group of ruins on the riverside and absolutely had to check it out. Even though there wasn't much inside of the ruins themselves, they still have a lot of nooks and crannies. The level of attention they put into this map is insane. I kinda wish they still had these standards. Screw you, snail games. Oh, excuse me. Oh look, another NPC village. However, I made a woeful mistake as I tried to dismount my wyvern to loot the huts.
What the? Oh, I made a mistake.
Oh yeah, I forgot that can happen sometimes. I've got an idea. We'll never speak of this again. If anyone asks, nothing happened, and I'll give you an imaginary cookie or something. Maybe even imaginary V-Bucks if you double promise not to tell. That whole debacle ate up half of my days, so it's safe to say that I was no longer in the mood to explore. So I went on another run for wood and thatch with the mammoth, and then struggled to get my baby wyvern imprinted. Well, I only have a couple of minutes until I have to add another mod. I'll just work on the tower to pass the time.
Okay, another 10 days, another wheel spin. Oh no. Are you serious? Don't applaud. That's horrifying. I don't want to...
be with SCPs. Oh, it is what it is. Let's see what I gotta wear for the next 10 days. California Girls emote. Okay, that might actually be amazing. I'm just gonna work on the tower for now. The thought of SCPs running up on my base kind of terrifies me, so I want this thing done. I've dabbled in the genre a little. I know some of the horrors this mod could possibly throw at me. So yeah, not a lot happened aside from tower construction. That's fine. I would be fine. Everything was gonna be fine. I'm saying this while fully expecting to get totally obliterated at some point later. Day 22, I could see a red drop way out on the horizon. I decided to stop being a pansy and left to grab it, which was sort of worth it since I got a few really nice blueprints that I would definitely never use. Probably. I got some more wood since I was focused on that tower. By the end of the day, I started working on some cool horn designs on that tower like those on Orthanc from Lord of the Rings. I finished the spires on my tower on day 23, and I think I did a pretty good job. My new wyvern had finally finished growing, so I took off on it to look for SCPs, or at least I assumed there would be SCPs. What would the point of the mod be if it didn't spawn any? I paid another quick visit to the wyvern trench to kill some brethren for XP. After I had my fill of death, I picked up some taters in the grasslands, since I still had yet to tame an Enki. I really gotta stop putting all of this off. At the end of the day, I finally found my first NPC, which was this monkey-looking dude. He was pretty feisty, but at the same time, he was also pretty squishy. Say, could I actually tame an SCP? Imagine if I can. I guess I'll have to find out. My war with the NPCs continues. They really aren't doing too well after losing the battle at the Choof Gates. They still don't seem to have an answer to my electrical warfare. There's nowhere these guys can hide. This is what they get for starting this crap. Any village I see, I destroy and loot on sight. I was mostly just exploring to fill in the map, but I couldn't help but notice these untamed jerboas. Do I need jerboas? No. But there's literally no reason not to have them. My heatstroke-inducing expedition continued, and I was sure to catch any jerboas that were dumb enough to let themselves be seen. This desert is huge. Like, really big. I can't imagine what PvP is like on this map. After the sunset, I found some more SCPs, and these were vaguely familiar. Aren't these the dudes that mimic voices? I tried to see if I could isolate one in order to safari tame it, but it was simply too fast. Plus, when it attacked, it had some nasty bleed effects that stacked, sort of like a Deinonychus. Yeah, I think I'm good. Day 25, I spent some time just checking out a bunch of the modded engrams. Not even kidding, I could do a whole 100 days video on both the hybrid mod and the SCP mod alone. They seem to actually have a ton of depth. I found another wild hybrid creature and decided to pick a fight with it. Its health pool was super beefy, but it didn't do much damage either, so killing it was easy. It also dropped some interesting loot, which was a stack of DNA and some weird bladder thing. My next destination, just for giggles, was the swamp. I was told I could find Shrek's house here, and as it turns out, it's really there. I used the selfie cam to check the inside, but there was nothing there, unfortunately. So I just continued filling in the map. There honestly wasn't much to see here. Most of it was just boring archipelagos. Found this wyvern spawn over by the desert the next morning and chose violence, including this here alpha wyvern. Oh? A red drop with a Basilosaurus saddle? I think I will, thank you very much. While trying to get back onto my wyvern, it pissed off some of its wild fellows. I tried plunging into the river below it to trick it into coming closer, but there were piranhas in there. Luckily, I had a pike and my scheme seemed to be working since my wyvern was there, but then I realized it was too close to the water and I couldn't lift off. Just as I was about to give up hope, I got my lucky break. That would have been such a stupid, silly, and awful way to lose a wyvern. I took a break from the bloodshed and knocked out this level 145 Enki I found. I had plenty of vegetables still left from earlier, so it wouldn't take too long to tame. As I waited for the dude to tame, I force-fed my wyvern meat to heal it. Fortunately, it wouldn't do anything to help its emotional wounds, but I don't know any wyvern therapists. Jeez, this thing is taking forever. Hurry up, will ya? The stupid thing finally tamed on day 27. I named him Clubba and began making my way back home. I wasn't far from the green obelisk when something really interesting happened.
That's... Oh! No. Wait. I should leave, but this guy is kind of cool. I should not be here, but he's so cool, but I don't want to be here, but he's so cool, but I don't want to be here, but he's so cool. I don't want to leave. But I should leave. I need to go. Like, this could be really, really bad for me. We'll see. I need to populate this tower. That's terrifying. I had absolutely no idea what to do about this guy. He appeared to be constantly aggroed onto me, and there was no way I was going to take him on with a single wyvern. Still, he was seriously cool. I did kite him to the bottom of the ravine, so hopefully his AI would be dumb and stay there. He didn't seem to actually have any attacks that went vertical, so I might be okay?
I think. Famous last words. Hey guys, do you like my new dog? The doctors say he's Keter class, but I swear he doesn't bite. I still wanted to move stuff into my tower just to be safe, so there was still some work to do. A lot of work to do, actually. Right now, the Scarlet King seems to be enjoying himself down there, so as long as he stays put and unaggroed, I don't see a reason to worry. I'm still ready to do a dino wipe if he starts acting up, though. A huge portion of day 29 was spent collecting a ton of stone out in the higher areas. I couldn't go low for obvious reasons. I wasn't trying to let my new dog think I was a snack or something. I continued working on some of the inner levels of my tower. I had no idea what I wanted specifically, I just didn't want to be on the bridge anymore. I'm only a little concerned. For those of you who don't know, the Scarlet King is an SCP that's kinda maybe supposed to end the world. You know, nothing serious. If he finds his way up to my base though, I might be a little bit salty. Speaking of our boy, how's he doing?
I'm coming on your ass, boy. I'm coming for that ass.
Ah, he noticed me again, and he seems pretty pissed. Alright, buddy, back to the void for you. My anxiety wins this round. I went on a super large wood run the next day, and for once I did so in peace. No big scary man to destroy me, for the time being anyway. Part of me hopes he comes back just for the meme. I put another S+ crafting station inside the tower and officially began moving stuff into it. I wanted everything except foundations off of the platform. Don't mind me, I'ma just go back to working on the tower. I need to get to the top for undisclosed confidential reasons. Some refining forges would probably help too.
Alright, another 10 days. You guys know what that means. It's time to spin the wheel again. Oh, Tameable Bosses. Alright, now what do I gotta wear for the next 10 days? Moai Statues? No way. Wait. This could actually be huge.
Whoever made this mod with the Moai statues, I love you. I set up a bunch of refining forges in the tower and began transporting the rest of my belongings inside. Like these jerboas. I can't have a tower without a jerboa room. Now all I need is an Anki saddle and I can go metal gathering. I was at least going to progress a bit farther in the game than I did in my Crystal Isles video, which you should definitely go watch if you haven't already. Metal was super easy to find on this map, and it wasn't long until I had racked up a few thousand. Once I got all of the metal back to the forges, I decided I didn't like the way there was some limited access to the base. It was time to reconsider the base design here and add some outside access for the middle. This honestly didn't take a lot of time, and all I really did was make this platform around the tower with a couple doors on one side so I could get in. Then it was time to get even more metal. Day 32, I continued gathering metal since I'm low-key addicted to the stuff. No matter how hard we try, we Ark players just can't escape this fate. After transferring all of the goods back into my forges, I went hunting for a wandering boss. Or at least, I assume that's what the Tameable Boss mod did. Maybe I got this all wrong. I found a new SCP, which pretty much were just skeletons of aloes that I guess were alive now. How creative. The search for a boss continued fruitlessly as I wandered into the desert again. I came across a purple drop with a conveniently full water jar, so that was nice. My journey eventually took me to the redwoods where I found the best SCP of them all, the Tickle Monster. All it took was some rare flowers to passively tame it, and now I had the cutest little man on my team. I wasn't really seeing a whole variety of SCPs, and it was disappointing. Sure, the Scarlet King was pretty funny, but other than that, I think I've only found 6 or 7 other variants. I was just chilling out looking at my loot when a sudden roar spooked me out of it. Yo, another Keter class SCP! I might die from this! My lightning attack wasn't doing a whole bunch of damage, honestly, but I found this point where I could just sit and breathe the stuff at him without taking any real damage. The worst he could do was this roar that would temporarily stun me. You know what? I think I might commit to this. I don't think I'll die at this rate. I think I can get him? I'm still doing this on day 33. Yep, just slowly chipping away at his health. Yup, still at it, and more importantly, I'm still alive! The angle here is kind of bad. Sorry guys, it was the only angle I could hit the stupid thing with. Guys, I actually think I'm gonna pull this off. Look how low I got it. Guys, I'm literally him. I totally wasn't supposed to do it like that. I also found everyone's favorite SCP, the Shy Guy. He doesn't seem to like Wyverns biting him, but I also can't help but notice that he's tameable. Yo? I don't have anything to actually knock him out, so for now I'm just gonna kill him. I came across another Alpha SCP-939 and decided to just kill it. I mean, that's all I really could have done anyway. I found yet another new SCP right after that, but couldn't remember what it did. Oh, yikes. It turns you into Helen Keller. Then I decided to fly over the snow on my way back home, which is dumb because of how fast I died. Dude, are you kidding? I didn't put beds into my tower? This royally sucks. No clue how I managed to get back home on the first try, but no complaints from me. I put down another Moai statue on day 36. They're gorgeous, I love them. Also, y'all wanna see my dude? Look at him! Look at my dude. That's it. That's all I had to say there. I went back out on my lightning wyvern to double check the canyons near my base and found the flesh that hates. I wasted no time getting to work on them, which wasn't hard since they were pretty squishy. It honestly wasn't even bad fighting them face to face. One of them put this infection status thing on me, but I was fine. Probably. Then I learned you can actually craft tamed versions of the flesh that hates. Dude, for real? I could do some funny things if I got enough stuff. Day 37, it was about time I actually got some electricity going. I put this off a little too long. This also means I have to go out and get cementing paste. Fortunately, I vaguely remember seeing some beaver dams earlier, not too far away from the base. On my way there, I got distracted with another NPC settlement. The war was far from over, and I needed to continue demonstrating my dominant aerial warfare tactics. I continued on my way, following the river upstream. No beaver dams so far. Ah, here we are. Jeesh, that is a lot of beavers. Nothing that I can't handle. These huge beaver dams on Ragnarok are amazing for cementing paste. The only other map where I've seen this much in one spot was Fjordur. Next I needed oil, and it wasn't hard to find this basilo. Apparently what is hard is me not hitting the dismount button while my wyvern is breathing a bolt of energy hotter than the sun. Fortunately, I was in Viking Bay when I died, which is a starter area where I could spawn, since I didn't have any, beds. Using my big guns and American desires, I took as much oil from that basilo as I could. You have oil, I invade your space. That's how it goes. The next morning, I finally used the stuff I had to make a generator and generator accessories. Ah, a natural light. I missed you. I went to a nearby watering hole so I could swim to the bottom of it for its large amount of crystal. I was gonna need a lot more of this stuff to make other stuff, I guess. Don't question it. Now I had everything I needed to make an industrial forge. Definitely only did this for the light source and nothing else. I needed a lot more loot from the flesh that hates in order to make one for myself, so I scoured the countryside for a bit until I found one. Of course, he was easy enough to kill, but I still needed a lot more flesh that hates. I continued my search to find more instances of SCP-610, but to no avail. I did find a baby version of SCP-939, which was kind of interesting. I began trying to knock it out, but I honestly wasn't sure that the damage was going to be good enough. The rest of the day, I continued my search, and it yielded nothing. I'm so sad about this. Maybe I'll find some later. Still looking for more flesh that hates on day 39. I really want this stuff to be my friend, if you could even call it a friend. I found another SCP variant, and it looked like it would be amazing to have on my side. However, the taming foods looked incredibly dumb to get, considering they were all dropped by variants of SCP-610, the one I was trying to rebirth. I then found another SCP variant called the Unclean One. It had high torpor and a low health pool, so I would need shocking darts or something to knock it out. So I began looking for jellyfish to kill. This should be easy, right? Edit. This is stupid. I haven't seen a single jellyfish anywhere. I found a welcome distraction after that. Hello, jerboas. It's so good to see you. You should all, come home with me and be my friend. When I say I got distracted, I mean very distracted. I tamed a lot of jerboas, and I honestly don't think it's enough. Lots and lots and lots of jerboas.
Yeehaw, more jerboa friends. Heck yeah.
I finally gave up on my jellyfish search and began my return home about halfway through the day. I will be back, mark my words. Never mind, I found another SCP type, so home can wait. Taming this thing was easy, but tedious since its progress kept sinking the whole time. I had to stay on top of it. Finally, after what seemed like forever, the cute little thing tamed. I realized that I could put him on my shoulder, but I'm not entirely sure what this thing even does yet. I don't care, it's cute. Oh shoot, another SCP variant. I wonder what this one does. Or not. I guess it's super squishy. Then it was back to looking for jellyfish. The same jellyfish that so far didn't seem to exist.
Alright, you know the drill, guys. Another 10 days has gone by, so let's see what I gotta add. Order Dinos Everywhere. That could mean a number of things, but that might be good. That might be really good for me. What do I gotta wear? What I gotta wear for 10 days? Viking Wardrobe. I might actually have some drip this time, fellas. Guys, I don't know why I didn't check this out sooner. I completely forgot this emote was in here.
Also, my half-cat SCP was down a cliff for some reason when I logged back in on day 41 and was getting attacked by a Troodon, and it died before I could save it. Bro, I didn't even have it for half a day. Ew, that guy kinda scary. That's crazy. After committing some more treaty violations on another group of humans, I ran into another hybrid dino and immediately opened fire. Killing it was pretty easy. The king of the deeps right now. That fortress thing I had found from way earlier had really piqued my curiosity, and I wanted to explore it. First, I had to annihilate all the inhabitants. They didn't deserve to live here. After everything was killed, I began to carefully explore the ruins. There really wasn't much to see, honestly. I will note that there was this super-looking ominous hole, though. I'm not even kidding. It was so dark down there that I'm sure there was a Dementor or something. Oh, hey, look, it's another one of those scary SCPs. It would be kind of funny if I tamed one. I just gotta find a damn jellyfish first. I took a break from the jelly hunt and looked for more SCP-610s to kill. I really wanted a tamed version. Unfortunately, there wasn't much. Time to keep looking, I guess. I found more flesh that hits on day 42. Let's go, baby. This one took some time, and apparently it has a Shadow Main variant, which is cool. After finally taking down the big boy of the group, I had gotten a solid amount of flesh that hates. It still wasn't enough to craft what I wanted, though. I would need to find more, but at least I was getting close. I returned home and crafted a refrigerator so I could keep all of the flesh loot I did have preserved until I had enough. So I set off to find more, and it actually didn't take me that long to find another group of them this time. The rest of the day would be spent killing them off for their entrails. Yummy. I returned home the following morning and did something absolutely insane. You'll never believe it. I placed down beds. Holy cow, right? Crazy. Up until this point, I really hadn't done anything extra with the hybrid mod, so I made a cloning machine to begin trying things out. The size of this thing was kind of intimidating, but I finally learned how to craft the different kinds of DNA. Now I could start making hybrids, but something told me that this was going to be a pain to do. Still gonna do it. I went looking for some hybrid dinos to kill for easy DNA, but instead all I got was a giant ray beam to the face from this SCP. If I'm gonna be blind, I'll do it on my own terms. I'll look at the sun or something. I found another batch of flesh that hates on day 44, and you all know I was ready to pounce on that silly goose. I did have a bit of a close call with a couple smaller ones since I couldn't hit them, but fortunately I managed to purge them before they could purge me. Yummy flesh. Oh, what's this? Another human village? What a shame. You guys probably really regret making an enemy of me. I mean, I probably would have done this either way to entertain my sadistic viewers. Also, guys, I finally made the SCP tame. This is gonna be so cool. I named it Bruh Moment and took it out for a test drive. Wasn't as strong as I had hoped, but at the same time, was still really strong. So, I forgot to record day 45. I didn't do much except grind for some pearls and metal to make electronics and polymer. Some things never change. So, funny thing about day 46, I went to get some lunch and apparently didn't pause the game, so somehow I died and ended up back home. Cool. Great. Fortunately, I still had an extra wyvern I could use to look for my stuff. Only problem was, I didn't remember where I stopped before dying. Also, the morning was spent looking around the canyons near my base. Dude, seriously, where did I end up? Wait a minute, I was getting polymer, wasn't I? That's something I would do over at the volcano region, where I could overheat and die. And aha! I knew it! I feel like a genius right now. I also noticed a Desmodus chilling right there. Huh, the first Fjordur dino. Too bad it isn't tameable. I returned home with my stuff and the polymer I set out to collect. With it, I put down an organic 3D printer and a DNA refiner, although I'm not sure what it does yet. Okay, I need to organize all this stuff. This is a giant mess and I'm tired of being encumbered. Then I set off for the beaver dams in hopes of getting some easy silica pearls. The ones under my base hadn't respawned yet, so I improvised. Day 48, I figured out how the 3D printer works and started making some large synthesized eggs, which I would need for a certain hybrid dino I had my eye on. I then went on a large wood run with my mammoth so I could take it back to my industrial forge to make charcoal. I still needed bullets and narcotics to make biotoxin darts. After that, I started trying to figure out how to make the DNA I needed for my hybrid dino of choice. It honestly wasn't too hard. All I needed were some simple organic materials like keratin and raw meat. As all of that was crafting, I set out once more to find jellyfish, and I was still very unsuccessful. Don't they usually spawn on the surface? The next day, I found another small pack of SCP-939s and decided to join the fray. They were pretty squishy, so I exploited them for their small supply of keratin. I went to the redwoods again for some reason, but I found this huge monkey there. But not just any monkey. It was Harambe. It instantly began attacking me as soon as I got close, so I got out of there.
Yeah, I gotta tame Harambe, guys. No question, no doubts. That is something Chufi has to do.
On my way back home, I killed some Dodex for the keratin because I would need a lot more of it to make the DNA I needed. I also found another hybrid, a Pteroraptor. Killing it was no problem, and pretty much as soon as I did, I hopped off my wyvern to grab all the DNA it dropped. That's when I discovered this weird token thingy called a rogue credit. I don't know what it does, but I probably should hold on to it.
Getting jiggy with it. Oh yeah. He's probably like, terrified right now.
What the fuck am I watching?
The common mammal DNA I had found earlier had finished crafting by this point, so now I moved on to crafting some excellent mammal DNA. With all that charcoal I had turned into gunpowder, I could finally make some bullets that would later be turned into tranq darts. Slowly but surely I was getting closer to having biotoxin darts. For now, I was still dissatisfied with the amount of narcotic I currently had, so for the rest of the day I harvested a ton of berries. Finally, I had to accept the fact that I needed a water tame to look for jellyfish. Would have to go deeper to find them. I made some scuba gear to prepare because I was going after a basilo. Before I left, I crafted some more DNA. Wasn't a whole lot, but anything is better than nothing. Then I began my search for the basilo. I actually found a high level right off the bat, which was nice. What wasn't nice was trying to figure out how I was going to get rid of the mantas. It was super annoying at first, but I finally managed to bait them towards me, where I would then finish them off, or at least most of them. At first, things seemed to be going great. It looked like it was just me and the basilo. Obviously, the dolphins weren't gonna do anything. But then some mantas had come out of seemingly nowhere, and this nearly got me killed. Then some sharks aggroed onto me to top it off. I don't remember. I do it for the ad revenue. Assuming I'm even getting good revenue on this video. Then it was just me and the basilo once again. Nothing could possibly go wrong, right? Oh, look, piranhas. Because of course there are freaking piranhas now. Fortunately, I somehow took care of this issue without receiving a single bite. Now that the basilo was close to the swamp, now there were other things I had to eliminate before I could continue taming the stupid thing. Finally, at the end of the day, I got it done. It was painful, but I got it done.
Additional emotes, it looks like. Now let's see what we gotta add in terms of moddage. Deinonychus Everywhere. Oh no.
Now that I had a new water tame, it was time to continue the jellyfish hunt. And what do you know? It barely took me any time to find my first batch. I never thought I'd be this happy to see a jellyfish in this game. I killed some more until I was somewhat satisfied with my pull and headed back home. There I got started on my production of tranq darts. It wasn't quite the amount I wanted, so I would have to make more before I would make biotoxin darts. The only reason I wanted to wait is because biodarts spoil after a while. So it's berry gathering time again. I was gonna make sure I had more than enough this time. I needed tons of narcotic. I also played around with the newest emote mod.
Dude, you can flip things off.
Day 52 started off with some more DNA making. Man, don't you just love it when humans artificially tamper with DNA? I don't see how that could ever go wrong. It's perfectly safe. I still needed keratin for common DNA, so it was back to that wonderful grind of murdering anything that would give me the material that fingernails are made out of. Ugh, why would I say that? Gross, let's move on. I also found some weird looking green SCPs wandering around. They kind of reminded me of Cthulhu. I decided to get closer and test their aggressiveness in a pretty stupid way. Don't mind me, just being a genius over here. I guess they must be somewhat nice. Oh, another little happy sludge ball of joy? Don't mind if I do. You should hang out with my friends back home or something. When I returned home, I crafted some more tranq darts. I was getting closer. That Harambe would be mine. Uh-oh, looks like those filthy human NPCs are trying to stage another siege. Too bad, fellas. You're gonna need more than sticks and stones to get in. Well, now my DNA crafting requirements demand more pelts, so it's time to go on yet another murdering spree. I got very sidetracked when I saw another half-cato walking around. I had raw prime fish meat on me, so the process went much faster this time around. Now it's back to murdering the innocent for their fuzzy skin. You know, the DPS I'm doing right now is so nice. Look at how even an alpha raptor crumbles beneath my electric majesty. Ooh, that was kind of poetic. I went back to the base after I got a satisfactory amount of pelt and began crafting more mammal DNA. So close to having enough for this hybrid. I also finally got around to making some bullets for dart crafting purposes. Once I had these biotoxin darts, it was curtains for some of these SCPs. Finally, I have enough DNA to create my first masterpiece. I'm gonna have to wait though. The last thing I did that day was begin to mess with the DNA refinery I had created. Evidently, I was supposed to drop apex items in and it would do the rest. I think I'd figure it out eventually. The wolf hybrid finished crafting on day 54 and it was time to set him loose. I named him Pupper. First I had to craft a riding membrane in order to actually, ride him. As I started taking him for a test drive, I realized he operated like a rock drake. That combined with a nasty ice breath attack, I had a pseudo Wiggums on my side. As I went around killing things, I noticed some Fjordhawks chilling around. Fortunately, I couldn't tame them for some reason, which is kind of dumb, but if I could have, I would have definitely tried. I returned home to my DNA refiner, but it didn't seem to be doing anything. After brainstorming why the heck it wasn't crafting any special DNA, I realized that I needed to use the purified versions of Apex drops, which only required 1 polymer each to make. Also, it's that time. I had the Trink Darts, I had the Biotoxin. It's time to get crafting. I don't know why I never really use these things. They're so stinking good at what they do. I started knocking out a second, higher level Rambe, but I accidentally fell off the cliff. I somehow survived, and luckily the Rambe's torpor was high enough for it to start running away. I managed to knock him out right next to the first Rambe. I'm gonna have 2 Harambes, guys! I found a wandering dragon boss the next morning and instantly started trying to knock it out. This thing was a lot faster than I originally thought, so I wasn't able to get another good shot at it. As I ran away, I found another instance of SCP-610 right on the other side. You already know this meant war. Once everyone except me had died, I found another small NPC settlement. You guys are kinda close to my base. You aren't slick. There's no way you can launch another assault on my fortress. After making the writing implant for my Rambes, I took the higher level out for a spin. I regret nothing. I love a monkey that can punch super hard. On a side note, I had enough flesh that hates to make another tamed version, but I needed more element. Maybe I'd keep that in mind. Also, fellas, I apologize. I completely spaced out on the Viking cosmetics from the previous 10 days, so I'll make up for it here. You know, some of these armor cosmetics are pretty awesome, not gonna lie. I'm especially digging this sword skin. It makes the Middle-earth nerd under the skin happy. I began looking for SCPs to tame after that. Came across SCP-173 as it was attacking a Paraceratherium. The last thing I wanted to see right now was Peanut. Why would they put this dude in the game? Oh my gosh, he's so fast. Oh, and now I'm blind. Oh boy, I tried killing this thing, but it was way too erratic and fast for me to get continuous damage on. Screw this, I'm leaving. I found another SCP chilling out and baited it into this canyon thingy. It only took a single dart to take it out, and it wanted calcified meat to tame. Fortunately, all this required was stone and prime meat to craft, and it tamed up in no time. I tried to test its abilities out on this Sabertooth, but I quickly realized that this thing sucks and I was gonna die if I kept this up, so I ran for it. I found another SCP-093, but it was getting torn to shreds by some other dinos, so I didn't get very far in the knockout process. I found another one pretty quickly after that and took advantage of it being distracted. By the time it had finished its business with whatever it had been eating, it was already running away. Sweet dreams! I spent the rest of the day sitting next to it while it tamed. It finished taming on day 57 and I began trying it out. It had some cool debuff abilities, but other than that, it was okay. I started knocking out a Bigfoot, but then remembered I needed weird stuff to tame it and decided it would be a waste of time. My hunt for tameable SCPs continued deeper into the redwoods where I found an instance of 096 again. Honestly, I think I gotta at least try to get this guy. I began grabbing and crafting stuff to make a trap. I really didn't have a working plan in mind, I was just kind of testing the waters here. Things got too dicey and could just fly away. I managed to bait him into the trap, but it seemed like he could just run out whenever he felt like it, so I wasn't confident. I might try this again later, but for now I'm gonna look for other SCPs. I found some more flesh that hates in the wild, which is always a welcome sight when it's far away from the base. Yummy flesh. I keep saying that. I need to stop. My search took me into the highlands, but there really wasn't much to see. The hunt continues. Day 58, I wanted to make another hybrid. I was already pretty close in terms of having the material I needed. I set out on my Wyvern to try and get raw fish meat to make DNA, but this method wasn't the greatest or safest. So I went to the ocean instead, and this yielded slightly better results. I began crafting the DNA I needed with the fish meat and just kind of putzed around for a while. Not really sure what I was doing. This is what playing a game on one brain cell looks like. So I continued looking for tameable SCPs to pass the time, or easy to kill boss SCPs for the element. Either would be great. Not a lot happened for a while, and I found myself heading into the desert. It had been a while since I terrorized human villages out here. They needed another helping of war crimes committed against them. Yeah, I kinda just did that for the rest of the day. Day 59, I found this weird looking SCP boss and tried to see if I could knock it out. Unfortunately, the darts weren't dealing near enough torpor to it, so I began blasting it with lightning. This was taking a stupidly long time to finish. And on top of that, obviously, it was a huge risk. At one point, I had to retreat to heal my Wyvern. When I returned, I noticed it was stuck behind a log. Sure enough, it couldn't go under it, so killing it was rather easy. That's twice now that I've gotten lucky with choosing locations. I saw another one of those SCP-4975s later and decided, screw it, I'm gonna knock it out. It rushed me and turned invisible, which was kind of scary, but my second shot found its mark, so we're good. When it finished taming, I named it Pokey Dude. I wasn't feeling very creative. That night, I finally decided to catch a griffin. Normally, I would make a trap. I think I was just feeling really confident with these biotoxin darts. Off the next day at least, I managed to knock the dude out and began sitting there waiting for him to tame. Oh man, I missed flying on griffins. They're so cool. When I got back home, I had all the DNA I needed to make another dino hybrid. After making the membrane saddle thingy, I took it for a spin. It was like this weird Reaper Megalania Thorny Dragon hybrid. It wasn't bad. When I got home, I decided to give him a name. From now on, he will be called Dog. I found another SCP-096 on day 61. He was a bit hard to cheese since he kept moving around. At one point, I decided I was going to see if I could knock it out on foot, but this immediately turned into a grave mistake. I immediately legged it after hitting the ground, but somehow he didn't seem interested in me at all. In the end, I just decided to kill him. Knocking him out wasn't in the cards right now. Alright, I think I've put it off for long enough. I'm gonna start running some caves. I most likely won't take the boss fight seriously at all, but I'll at least start one for the experience. It didn't take me too long to find the first cave, and it definitely wasn't because I looked them up on YouTube. Why would I ever do that? The gimmick to this one was kind of clever. There was nothing really in it. They just hid the artifact behind a bunch of breakable boulders. Cool. One artifact down, a bajillion left to find. The second cave in the Redwoods was also a breeze. Nothing spawned in there, and it was just a matter of walking in and walking out. I'm just too good at this game. The rest of the day was spent looking for another cave. I like how even despite having a video tell me where it is, I somehow still have trouble finding it. I finally found it the next morning and rode into it on my monkey. Also, boy, was it dark in here. There also didn't seem to be anything spawning in here. Weird. Also, thank goodness I brought grapples. I love feeling like Spider-Man. I spent quite a while wandering around inside until I eventually found the artifact. Then, after getting lost and running around some more, I found an exit. It wasn't the same one as before, so I had to run back to the first entrance on Harambe. I was all ready to go, but as I was about to leave entirely, the video I was using to find the caves told me that there were 2 artifacts in this cave. This is a certified bro moment. I couldn't help but notice this vertical cavern at one point and decided to use my grapple to investigate. Turns out this was the move, since the artifact was actually up there. I didn't actually use the video for this one. My next destination was this jungle cave. Let's just say that the less time I spend in here, the better. This place gives me the creeps. Despite the spider references, nothing seemed to be spawning in here either. Cave itself was actually pretty awesome, and it only got even better the deeper I went. I have no idea what kind of lore this underground structure has, but it's epic. Thanks to the power of grapples, getting the artifact was a nice and safe experience. Things weren't as nice as I tried to leave the cave. Oh, so now the spiders are spawning. Kidding me? Somehow I managed to make it out safe. Minus the spiders, this cave is a solid 9 out of 10. My caving spree takes me to the desert on day 63, and it was a while before I finally found the entrance. At first I was intrigued by the puzzle inside, but I quickly got irritated as I realized it wanted me to spell a word or something without any clues. I'm gonna get abused in the comments for this, but I personally had no idea what was going on in there. I noticed some buttons higher up, but when I tried to use my grapples, it wouldn't let me. The guide I used showed me that there were some buttons that I would have had to use the grapples for, which is so BS. I just used a fly command to solve the puzzle. I'm too lazy to go get a tame. There was a hole to fall into, and it brought me to this weird chamber with what I guessed to be a riddle on the wall. I guess I did something wrong since I was almost instantly blasted in the face with fire. Okay, so for some reason, sneaking seems to do the trick. I still barely made it through the door alive. Following it was some dumb parkour thing. Okay, maybe not dumb, but this cave makes me really irritated. After the parkour there was this empty looking room, and I decided to run across. Bats immediately spawned, and it seemed like my time of reckoning had finally come. Oh, look, I got my stuff back. How weird. That was crazy. I definitely didn't do it illegitimately. Alright, this is a load of bullcrap. Hold, please. Now I'm in this weird chamber with an ominous looking hole. Ah, I see. The hole seems to demand a living sacrifice to open the door. Good thing I had a gerbo on me, and oh great heavens, it burns! Oh great. A long, awful, pitch black hallway. Oh my gosh, more bats. Dude, I can't deal with this right now. Now I'm in this weird plant chamber with deer? I've had enough of this cave. This is the point where I decided to take the loser's way out. So I got the artifacts in cool, awesome ways that totally didn't involve cheats or anything like that. Maybe I'll run this cave properly someday.
Yo guys, I'm sorry. I completely forgot that it is way too late, but I still gotta spin the wheel. So I guess I'm adding the Behemoth Rex mod. Alright, and what do I gotta wear? Lord of the Rings. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, leave it up to me to forget the rules to my own video. While goofing off, I noticed this Dino Rex walking around, and of course I was gonna tame it. I mean, yeah, it almost killed me with a fireball. I still knocked it out though. I also forgot to record much of day 65 since I was doing not cheater stuff, and I did tame a Fenrir from Fjordur, and at some point a Manticore as well. Kind of big things to miss, but no use crying over spilled milk. I didn't use them that much anyway. Now it was time to see what this Lord of the Rings mod was all about. I messed around with some of the armor skins, but to be honest, it would have been cooler if my character wasn't horribly deformed. Also, apparently the Argonath statue in its entirety is a craftable item. What the actual heck? I can't believe this only cost 2 wood. I honestly didn't do anything of substance that day, just a whole lot of nothing. I kinda just waited around for DNA to craft on day 67. Yep, I was clearly getting bored, so I set off to see if I could find any Behemoth Rexes or something. Again, I had no idea how the new mod worked or what it even had. I could have looked it up, but I was feeling lazy. I ended up terrorizing small NPC villages. It's funny how I seem to keep reverting to this. I spent an unnecessary amount of time doing this. All for the giggles, I guess. Then I somehow ended up in the redwoods again, and I found one of those 9-tailed fox SCPs. It was time to tame it. Realized I needed more Titan hearts to tame it, so I began hurrying home to get some. I had plenty from all those flesh that hates instances I had killed, so we're good. When I had returned with all the Titan hearts the next day, the SCP had woken back up again, so I knocked him out again. Don't ask me what I needed this guy for. I simply just do this stuff on a whim. I found another SCP-173 and began fighting it. This one definitely had to give me element. Chasing this thing down and actually hitting it from safety was stupid hard since he kept moving around. Isn't this guy supposed to stay still if you're looking at him? I guess eventually he had enough and launched himself off the mount. It's better to talk to someone before doing this, you know? He eventually landed in the ocean and the struggle continued. This went on for the rest of the day. I'm still fighting this dude on day 69. Is this even worth it? I gave up and began going back home, but on my way I encountered a mini version of the King Titan. I wonder if he gives me element when he dies. Nope, no element unfortunately. Guess I'll have to find another SCP boss or something. I made another pit stop on the way back when I knocked out these SCP-939s. Again, I have absolutely no use for these guys. I just look at it as an achievement. As I stopped at this yellow drop, I killed a Carno with lightning and then did that one thing again. Come on, man, I really gotta stop doing that. After recovering my stuff, most of day 70 was spent in front of the cloning machine waiting for DNA to craft. At this point, I was completely brain dead in front of the computer. The only other thing I did that day was farm organic polymer from mantises and large quantities of meat from large creatures, which I would then use to make even more DNA.
Ancient dragons? Yeah, we're going with ancient dragons. Stat bars. I am so excited for that Among Us costume one though. What is going on the right side of my screen? I don't like this. This is so cursed.
So yeah, that aside, I'm back to making DNA. While I had that going on in the background, I went exploring to figure out what the new mod had for me. I eventually discovered these smaller wyverns flying around that appeared to be tameable. After taking a fireball to the face, I realized that I might have to be a bit more careful about this, especially since I was looking rather squishy at the moment. I managed to BS my way through it all and eventually got her knocked out. At this point, knocking things out in stupid ways is part of my brand. Then I sat there bored while he tamed. When he did finally finish taming, I had cooked up another scheme. For it to come to fruition, I would need wyvern talons. Lots of wyvern talons. Also, coincidentally, those wyvern types I discovered yesterday also lay eggs, which I forgot to record myself getting, so now you get this super exciting footage of me waiting for them to hatch. California girls are unforgettable, Daisy Dukes. I have been dancing here for 10 minutes, by the way. My editor can confirm this. Okay, the eggs are about finally done. It's time to raise these suckers. Okay, now that I'm taking a good look around, I have to acknowledge that this base is a mess. Day 73, I'm back to farming wyvern talons again. I needed a lot of these things. Once all of them had been purged, I found a red drop with an ascendant pump action blueprint. I'm not gonna act surprised though. I did bump my loot quality setting to 5 after all. I need so much more wyvern DNA. How many more times will I have to go to that stupid trench? Day 74, I finished construction on this little mystery box. I can't tell you what it does yet. That's gonna ruin the mystery. After imprinting my baby fireball wyvern, it was time to return to the wyvern trench for their toes. Give me your grippers, buddy. I need them to craft things that defy science. Back at home, I turned the talons into DNA and found a dodo to practice my WWE moves on. World Star, here I come. Okay, now that the dodo is tamed, I need to see how the animated series skin looks. This is terrifying. Day 75, I sat scrolling through memes on Instagram while I waited for my baby wyvern to finish growing. I know, I'm really going out of my way for content here. Also, apparently these smaller wyvern variants fly like griffins. I think my life is complete. My joyride ended up taking me to the desert, so of course I began looking for jerboas. Guys, jerboas are cool. Like, super cool and stuff. I just can't stop taming them. Also, when I wasn't catching jerboas, I was winning the war. I only ever needed to lose one battle, and the fact that these guys still haven't surrendered is wild. And for the rest of the day, I just sat there on this rock for some reason. I was probably eating lunch or something. I guess I was still AFK for the first half of day 77. Alright then. Then it was back to taming jerboas again. You know what would be funnier than enslaving one human NPC? Enslaving two human NPCs. Unfortunately, this takes a lot of time for some reason. If I was knocked unconscious and someone handed me a handful of medium rare steak, I would totally... Actually, never mind. After a while, he did finally end up taming. I named him Tweedledum. After getting back home, I began depositing all my jerboas inside that stone box I had made. Listen, I needed a place to keep them. They're too cute to stay in the wild. Now it's time to go back to the Wyvern Trench again. I forgot to record most of day 79, but all I really did was look for jerboas and stream, but mostly look for jerboas. The next day, I decided to tame another manticore just to actually have it on record. Not that it matters that much anyway. It took hardly any time with those super tranks I had. While I waited for it to tame, I messed around with some of the local wildlife. Turns out they don't like being gobsmacked with a high quality sword. After the manticore finished being brainwashed, I named him Cornelius after my live chat suggested the name. And it was back to taming jerboas. Yeah!
So I've got 2 more mods from each spinner. I don't know what either of these mods are. Alright, Pimp My Dino it is. Let's see it, chat. Oh no. Yes. Let's go. I've been waiting for this one. I have waited 80 days. Oh no. Oh no.
I knocked out a saber-tooth later on in one hit since my chat wanted to see me ride a small creature in this disgustingly awesome costume. I'm gonna be real with you guys, I completely forgot about the kitty after this. I deposited some more jerboas into my collection and began trying to figure out what the new pimp mod did. Then it was back to the Wyvern Trench to farm talents. After making some more DNA at home on day 82, I went back to the desert to find and catch more jerboas. If this annoys you, just know I'll probably keep doing this until day 99. You can never have too many jerboas. My chat also pleaded with me to tame a dragon, so I agreed since I had nothing better to do. The one I ended up catching was a gross low level, but I knew I was never going to use the thing anyway. The dragon's torpor drained like a giga though, so I had to watch it closely while it tamed. It eventually tamed, thankfully, so I guess I could scratch that off the list of unimportant things to do. At this point, I'm literally just annihilating raptors with a sword. That's how bored and unserious this has gotten. Literally the perfect choofy video.
What's this? More jerboas. Yes, please, don't mind if I do.
I also knocked out this very low level Rex. I only wanted to see what the animated series skin looked like. Don't expect any greatness from this. The Rex finished taming the next morning. Awesome. For now, all of that would have to wait. There were still jerboas out there in the wild. Believe it or not, I'm kind of enjoying myself right now. We all stan our challenge YouTubers, but hopefully these kinds of videos are a nice change. It takes a lot of dedication to be this unserious. Take notes, kids. It's not all dodos and sunshine. When I said dedication, I meant it. These jerboas aren't gonna tame themselves.
Sand! Sand in my eyes! It still stings.
Ooh, this jerboa has a cool color. Or maybe it's just the permanent eye damage I got from that sandstorm. After returning home, I finally realized that these dudes probably need food. Good thing this Rambe of mine knows how to get berries. Oh man, I have a lot of jerboas. It's still not enough, actually. I almost forgot, I'm trying to make that new kind of wyvern egg. I don't know why I tried to fight the wyverns on my itty-bitty fireball variant. This was stupid and dangerous. I had to dip after a certain point. This was not the move. I was gonna die. So I grabbed my lightning wyvern and returned to assert dominance. And assert dominance I did. Those wyvern grippers were mine. I returned home with my spoils of war and turned those talons into DNA. Well, I still need more dinosaur DNA, and I can't make it unless I have fish meat. Then I finally had enough DNA to make myself a plasma wyvern egg. This takes a long time to make. I'm bored. When it finally finished crafting, I went outside to release my new glorious creation. I know that there wasn't a whole bunch of hatching or raising to this, but I'm not gonna question it. This hybrid mod is great. The rest of the day it was spent killing Spinos so I could level up my new friend. The plasma breath was honestly pretty cool. It was kind of like a large cannon blast you'd see in Star Wars. As night fell, I returned to the desert to Well, you already know what I'm gonna do there. Yep, you probably guessed it. I'm in Jerboa heaven right now. So many of these little guys out there craving salvation. I'll be the one to kinda give it to them. I found an interesting yellow drop the next day that had some funny chainsaws in it. Perhaps I could have some fun with this. Then again, it would be a lot of work to make one of them. Why waste time on that nonsense when I could be doing other unimportant stuff? There's honestly not much for me to narrate here. Like I said earlier, this is entertaining enough for me. Also, for some reason, I went back to the Wyvern Trench. I have absolutely no clue why I was here. I'm just gonna assume I was bored again or something. The final 2 mods I had to add on day 91 were the Minecraft mod and the Shiny Dinos mod. I wanted to go look for supposed mobs that were supposed to spawn, but first I needed to go home and figure out what I could make. Let me just say the selection of crafting items were super cursed. Really cursed. I was really hoping for a Steve costume, but I guess I can roll with this instead. I collected some wood with my mammoth and used it to make myself a Minecraft house. This time it legitimately delivered. There was nothing inside of it, but it was truly a complete Minecraft home. I still wanted to do some sort of a boss fight on day 100, so if I wanted to do that, I would have to figure out what all this Minecraft stuff had in store for me and prepare. Also ignore the frame rate here. I promise it definitely had nothing to do with Jerboas. Day 92 I continued to mess around with the Minecraft mod items, including these ender pearls. Feeling rather inspired by the Minecraft stuff, I began the search to see if there might be any mobs that spawn. You know, like creepers or something. Creeper? Aw man. My travels took me to the desert where I had a very devious idea. It required a female human partner to the male I already had at the base. First I had to actually wait for her to tame. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Can I breed the NPCs? No, I can't. This is a serious issue. I give this mod a 2 out of 10 now. After that massive disappointment, I gathered a bunch of material so I could craft the end dimension or something. Oh my. Of course, as a true gamer, my first instinct is to kill this thing. All true gamers kill the Ender Dragon at least once in their lives. It wasn't gonna go down without a fight, though. It had a fireball that not only hurt a lot, but could also hit the rider. This obviously complicated the fight a bit. That's okay, though. I always do it for the vine here on the channel. It'll die eventually. My plasma wyvern was laid to rest the following morning, and it definitely wasn't my fault. That darn Ender Dragon. I would never kill my own creations. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's karma. There's plenty more tames to help me fight. Fear not, I will win this. And there we go. Dedication was key. Wait, hold on. Is that its egg? By the looks of it, I think this is something I can hatch. Hold on, wait a minute. This is going to be glorious, amazing, straight out of my childhood dreams. The Ender Dragon hatched pretty quickly the next morning, and I set him out to start growing. While I waited for that to finish, I continued looking for Minecraft creatures, which, to be honest, might not have even existed in the first place. Oh, hello again. Nice to see this juicy behemoth return. What's even funnier is that this dude was stuck in the mesh, and you know what that means. Will this backfire on me? Probably. Is it funny enough for me to keep doing it despite the consequences? Absolutely. Fortunately, he wasn't able to hit me, and I returned home to check on my boy. I also violated the Geneva Convention out of complete boredom while I waited. My Ender Dragon, who I named Boogums, finished growing on day 96. He was, a little powerful. Hold up, since I'm doing even crazier damage now, let's see how it looks on that SCP boss. I won't keep you guys waiting. It hurt him a lot. Having pretty much infinite stamina on this guy definitely helps. I noticed that this time the boss dropped a fertilized egg. Yo? This is going to require some investigation. So yeah, this is gonna take a while. I'ma just go AFK. I spent the entirety of the next day just sitting there as well. I was bored out of my mind and kind of just ready to be done with this game. It finally finished hatching on day 99 and it was time to try it out. And I gotta say, I do love those damage numbers. And then the unbelievable happened as I began to make my way down the hill. The Scarlet freaking King spawned again. Immediately I rushed back home and returned with my Ender Dragon. Time to have an epic crossover duel. Okay, I kinda have no idea what's going on at this point. I just know I'm a dead man. Dude, this is pure chaos. Yup, there it is. Not much I can do now. Guess I'll wrap this up the only way I know how. Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you fellas. I'm kinda done with Ark. I don't know if it's permanent or whatever. I really don't want to play it. I'm so tired of it. I'll play other games, do 100 days, etc. But thank you so much for watching the video if you watched it this far, and make sure to go check out my other stuff and subscribe if you haven't already. So yeah, see you whenever I upload again.